Welcome to the home of the Huskies, Riverside TV High School Football Game of the Week in the Doghouse on 3rd and Chicago. John W. North takes on Notre Dame. I'm Ghazal Hassan. He's Nick Rice. And we got CIF High School football action. It is the finale for both teams, Nick. And for John W. North, they've won the last 2 weeks in pretty dominating fashion because of a balanced attack. They're running the ball and they're throwing the ball.
Yeah, they look like a juggernaut. First of all, it really is surprising that the season is already coming to a close tonight. You've got to believe JW North, the team that's the favorite coming into tonight, wants to end the year on a high note.
Yeah, as far as Notre Dame goes, a little bit undermanned, but they're going to try to find the spaces in the defense of John W. North by throwing the ball around the field out of that spread offense.
Yeah, they're a little short-handed. Their quarterback from last year transferred, so they're dealing with a sophomore. And for this offense, they've really got to get on them early in order to win the game.
It's a family affair here at the Doghouse between John W. North and Notre Dame. It's the CIF Riverside High School Football Game of the Week coming up next. Home of the Huskies, folks. We're back ready to kick off. Teeing it up for Notre Dame is Seth Gorgon. Back deep to receive for John W. North, Hassan Elliott, along with Rohan Preston. Ghazal Hassan, Nick Rice back with you. This intra-city clash between Notre Dame and John W. North about to get underway. Notre Dame won the toss, Nick. They elected to defer, so they're kicking away to the Huskies.
Yeah, we'll get a chance to see that offense that has been rolling the last couple of weeks. It'll be fascinating, and it's hard to believe, Ghazal, we're at the final week of the entire season.
Yeah, well, great that they got a season in, this little kind of truncated spring football season. Great for the players, and got a chance to really honor the seniors. It was a senior day ceremony right before kickoff, and here we go. We're underway, and it's a short kick fielded at about the 24-yard line, veering to the outside, trying to turn the corner, and being knocked out of bounds for John W. North is Leo Tupu. So Tupu gets knocked out. He'll get up to about the 39-yard line, and that's where John W. North will tee it up. They're running a 2-quarterback platoon, so let's see who runs out there. It'll either be the senior Tyler Speak or the junior Jaden Gamble, and it looks like Speak, the Norco transfer, will lead his team out there 1st and 10 from the 39.
Well, I guess we've just seen it all on Riverside TV, haven't we, Ghazal? We've seen wide receivers and running backs play the quarterback position, and then how about this? 2 signal callers for JW North.
Now, both quarterbacks on the field, and the ball, the double pass attempt, that was Jaden Gamble, the other quarterback who made the catch, but not much doing there, kind of stumbled it. It was a backwards pass, so live ball, and North picks it up, but they do lose yardage. Well, they're just going to call it incomplete, so they'll say incomplete. And the ball lines back up at the 39, 2nd and 10.
Yeah, with our award-winning Riverside TV crew, that replay, it looked pretty clear to me. In fact, I don't think they're calling incomplete. They may just redo first down here.
So, yeah, it's first. No play, 1st and 10. Here we go. Here's the give. This is Elliott up the middle, and he's got some space. Elliott to the 40. And steps out of bounds at about the 32-yard line. So give him a 29-yard pickup on the first play. Hassan Elliott, the junior, he's going to be back in the fall for them, Nick. A nice little move here to pick up some extra yards at the end of that play.
Yeah, impressive run. Hassan Elliott has shined with JW North for years. In fact, a couple of RCC, the reigning state champions, a platoon of running backs, have been from JW North. It's almost like they're a running back factory here in Riverside.
So stepped out of bounds, let's say at the 37. So instead of 24-yard run, and flags and whistles come in. Our officials tonight, Keith Sabo is the referee. The umpire is Dion Thompson. Karina Tower, the head lines person. Line judge Glenn Jensen. Back judge Kent Bukarau.
Well, you know, we talked to the coaches before the game, and Ghazal, you got an early impression about the running backs and the running game, this being a balanced offense, being very important for JW North tonight.
1st and 5 from the 32. Here's the throw, and it's complete. Down to the 10-yard line, making the catch Ashar Granger, and Granger, another guy for John W. North, is going to be back in the fall. So a 22-yard pickup or a 20-yard pickup there down to the 12-yard line.
And you can see that balanced offense early in the game is certainly shaking up that Notre Dame defense, a defense that has only had 2 full football games to prepare for J.W. North tonight. Certainly a disadvantage.
Granger to the top of your screen in the far slot, Alala. Play action, looking over the middle. Now dancing is Speak. He's got a man. He's going to throw the ball down the field, and it's a touchdown. Into the end zone, Damian Alala makes the catch, and a quick strike for the Huskies. They move 61 yards in just 4 plays. Touchdown, John W. North.
Boy, that drive was almost too easy. It certainly helped the penalties to the touchdown from J.W. North, but the offensive line was something Notre Dame and their entire coaching staff had talked to me before the game. Their size and athleticism up there, their front 5, will be the story of tonight's game, and it looks like that's the case early on.
Yeah, the bookends, as the Taryn Shive puts that through. The bookends are Jaden Johnson and Austin Berry. Austin Berry at left tackle, a 4-year starter headed to Arizona State. If that's not bad enough, Jaden Johnson on the other side, he is 6'9", comes in from the basketball team as we get a second look at that touchdown.
Just incredible pass protection. I mean, the quarterback was rolling out there. He could have danced in the pocket. Checked his Facebook feed. That was impressive protection.
So quickly on the board, last 2 games, the Huskies, Nick, have won by a combined total of 91-6.
Yeah.
They took a little bit of a rough beating in the first 2 games, but keep in mind, their first 2 opponents, Rancho Verde and Vista Murrieta, neither of team has lost a game yet.
Yes. A very tough schedule. In fact, J.W. North's last team in which they shut out at Valley View, the Eagles, that's the team that looks like they're going to win the Ivy League, which is the league that Notre Dame is in. So J.W. North is at a very brutal schedule. Multiple league champions they've played, and they've really played well.
So here's Shive to kick it away. Hudak is back deep. That's going to go out of the end zone. And Shive, he's a guy who's looking potentially at a landing spot, Division I landing spot as a kicker. Still, with the way the season has gone, recruiting is not what it normally is. And definitely he's got the leg for it. He's a guy who's been a varsity guy for the last 4 years.
Yeah, J.W. North, they're on a new coach, but this team is still loaded. And if this was a year where playoffs were in the mix, you have to believe J.W. North will go pretty far. This team looks as good as they have all year.
All right, here's 4 wide for Notre Dame. Andrew Waleski, the quarterback. He's just a sophomore. Tapping his feet, nothing is open, and he'll maybe get back to the line of scrimmage. And very poised. I was talking to Tony DeThomas, the head coach at Notre Dame, and he said, for a young kid, this kid's very poised, doesn't panic, makes good decisions, strong arm, accurate arm, but he knew there was going to be a huge challenge today because the defensive line for John W. North is pretty superlative. Head coach O.P. Vaipulu, he's the defensive coordinator, but before he was a head coach, he was a defensive line coach, and he's going to have those guys popping when they can.
Yeah.
2nd and 10, line is the 20. Here's Wolski's handoff. Anderson gets to the outside. 30, first down and more. Keeps the shoulders and the legs churning. He's all the way up to the 43-yard line. That's a first down for Notre Dame. Instead, that's Adam Gergen with the run. Does a little bit of everything for the Titans, and a first down as the sticks move up. And the Notre Dame offensive line is not to be undersold either. They're anchored on the left tackle by the big fella, Tyler Jorgensen. You see him. They ran to the right side on that play, though. It's first and 10 from the 43 for Notre Dame. Hudak, the motion man. This is Anderson. Anderson runs headlong into Isaiah Carter, gave him a nice pop and didn't really get much after that. Maybe back to the line of scrimmage, a yard on the play, 2nd and 9 coming up.
Yeah, it's great to see Notre Dame establishing that run. It certainly gives the quarterback some confidence. A quarterback in his first year as a starter due to the transfer of Dre Robles from last year. But he looks comfortable out there to begin the game.
So Patrick Guidry split out to the top of your screen. Hudak to the bottom of the screen for the Titans. 2nd and 9 coming up. Play action. Actually, it's the handoff and maybe another yard on the play. Again, Gorgon carrying the football.
Yeah, Coach Thomas showed absolutely no concern about a sophomore quarterback out there in his first year. Only 2 games because of the league scheduling and the non-league scheduling. They were late to add some games. They only picked up 2, so Notre Dame comes in 2-0, JW North 2-2. It's one of the weirdest years due to COVID, but this quarterback, only a couple of games in, looks comfortable and confident out there. The running game certainly helps.
3rd down. Throw to the outside. Hudak, the intended receiver, incomplete, falls under him. Over the top on the coverage for John W. North. Jamari Martin, he's the ML King transfer. But when I was talking to Tony DeThomas, he said, we actually did the schedule piecemeal. With 24 guys suiting up, did we want to run out there and play 5 weeks? We want to find the right opponents, and we wanted to kind of feed it to them as they could. And with regard to, you have 13 practices before you go out and play a game. They just didn't think that was prudent. And they wanted to be as prudent as possible, and they'll now kick it away. Back to punt is Devin Hudak. End-over-end kick. Bounces at the 34 and be down at the 36-yard line.
And that is interesting. I mean, we see that across Riverside this year, the differences in schedules and how some teams were able to schedule those league games, some weren't. And then once they knew or didn't know about those league games, whether they could play them, it was that much harder to find teams to play in a non-league year where, they had maybe a month, probably not even that, to schedule the entire season because we didn't know until the last minute that football was even happening.
So Harold Hendricks at the top of your screen along with Mulligan Hikus Weaver out of the shotgun. This is Gamble throwing down the field, intercepted at midfield. Notre Dame football, the turnover. And making the pick, that's Anderson with the interception for Notre Dame. Max Anderson doing a little bit of everything, running the football and then playing some defense there, the two-way starter, the senior.
Yeah, we're looking at the replay right now. I have no idea what the quarterback was thinking. 2 covermen there. The throw was late, behind. I mean, that was as easy as it gets.
So the first turn of the game here, interception at 7:44. Anderson with the pick of Jaden Gamble.
Yeah,
and that's sometimes the chance you take with a quarterback platoon because you're in there, you're in and out, and you don't really have a chance to develop rhythm.
Yeah, you almost wonder if the quarterback may be trying to press.
This is Anderson. Anderson to the left side, up to about the 35-yard line, 2 yards on the play. Tackle for North made by Danny Salvador, a young sophomore. And, something that we'll get into as the game progresses, Nick, is both these coaches, obviously they want to honor the seniors. The senior class is very important. They were happy to have the seniors back out there, but they're playing for a fall season, so no playoffs or anything this year. They got to get those sophomores and juniors who are going to play next year ready, both Tony DeThomas and O.P. Vaipulu. Play action. Here's the pressure, and down he goes. Making the hit, Leo Tupou. Tupou right down the smokestack, reminiscent of Troy Polamalu. You see those locks flowing behind him, and he just comes straight down, unabated to the quarterback.
Yeah, he just slipped right through, overpowering the offensive line. But one interesting thing that you mentioned with Notre Dame and their coach, I mean, it's funny because since there's only 24 active players on their roster, I mean, he almost has no choice but to bring in backups and test out everybody on the field today.
Here's a jailbreak, and almost complete. Good play there. Hudak, the intended receiver. Coverage on the play for John W. North from Eli Hughes. He breaks it up, and 4th down coming up.
Well, it was a great comparison you had with a Troy Polamalu. He would do stuff just like this. Tupou didn't exactly touch the quarterback, but him grabbing a man on that late blitz, kind of like Troy Polamalu would do, even though Polamalu sometimes would hop over the offensive line. Nevertheless, he's taken a body away, and that certainly helped that J.W. North pass rush.
Hudak on to punt. Jamari Martin deep for John W. North. Here's the kick. End over end, and it'll bounce at the 10 and go scurry into the end zone. And that was one of the things, talking to Coach DeThomas of Notre Dame, they didn't really have a punter or a kicker. And they had to, so normally over the course of a season, you have the spring, somebody can come and emerge. You can go pluck a guy off the soccer team. They didn't have any time to be able to do that. So they had to find somebody who was on their roster. And Devin Hudak, who does a lot of other things. As you mentioned, when you're playing with 24 guys on a varsity roster, versatility is a key.
I mean, it's almost the exact opposite problem that you have this year than previous years, where you may be able to snag a soccer guy easily. Quite a few of your special teamers probably chose to play soccer or play baseball instead of football, thinking, I don't have to get hit this fall. I'll take it.
Here's the option. Keeping it is Speak, and Speak with little trickery gets up over the 40-yard line. About a 20-yard run on the play. The sticks will move up for John W. North. Running behind big number 77, Austin Barry. You see him get up from the pile there, and he's grading some road for you. You and I could probably run behind him. He's heading to Arizona State in the fall.
Yeah. Well, on the left of your screen, Ashar Granger, number 11. Look at the wide receiver playing like a tight end or an offensive lineman. That's the sort of textbook blocking that coaches dream of with their wide receiver. They know the offensive line's got to get down there and nasty, but when your wide receiver is willing to lay his body on the line like that, that's some amazing stuff. Unfortunately, one of those guys.
Somebody was a little too ambitious.
Yes.
Hold on the play. We get the information from Keith Sabo, our white hat, and it's all going to come back. It'll be back to the 15-yard line for J-Dub.
Well, if I'm a coach, I'd take that. Get a little too ambitious to block than not ambitious enough.
Speak with the play action, looking downfield. Here comes the pressure. He'll roll to the right side, still on his feet. Now he'll just burn it. Willie, he was intercepted, but is he in bounds? The pick made Emiliano LaQuesta makes the pick, but I believe he was out of bounds. So North keeps it, just an incompletion for the Huskies.
Yeah, it looks like Tyler Speak, who looked comfortable on that touchdown drive to begin the game, looks a little bit anxious, and that's one of the problems you have with two quarterbacks. I mean, just ask Bill Walsh. That's back in your day there, Gazal, right? The Niners and whatnot. Who's this Bill
Walsh? Who's this Bill Walsh you speak of?
I'm not sure. Maybe we'll talk about it in today's game. When you have two quarterbacks, it's hard for any one of them to play quite up to where they usually are.
So Speak on second down, flips to the outside. Ball is complete to Mulligan Hikus Weaver, but it's a loss on the play. Third down coming up.
No promises that'll be the only NFL reference. I just want you guys to know exactly what we're talking about up here. When you have two quarterbacks, it's hard to gain the confidence knowing that you might at any snap get pulled from the game.
I mean, high school, it's different. I remember Bill Parcells saying if you got two quarterbacks, that means you have none.
Right. Was that a Parcells?
That was Parcells.
Interesting.
Quick throw from Speak, complete in the slot. This is Alala. Breaks the first tackle. Gets outside to about the 25-yard line. Won't be enough for the first down. And now some extracurricular activity afterwards. Running over to try to defend his teammate is Harold Hendricks. And order restored.
Yeah.
They marked it up to the 27-yard line, still short of the first down. Nice little run after catch. And a punt team out for John W. North. And see, this is the advantage for John W. North when you have a Terran Shive, almost like having an extra weapon in your holster.
Yep, every time you're punting, that's an extra 15 yards that your opponent doesn't get. We'll see if they can run this one back a little to even that momentum back.
Coach Vaipula said they like to call Shive 5-star.
I'd call him a 5-star.
I guess, yeah, because he's a 5-star recruit. And down to the 34-yard line with the kick. So a 39-yard kick, no return, and it'll be Notre Dame football. And 7-0 Huskies here in the first quarter, 10:38 of the first half. The Huskies went right down the field in the first drive. Nice adjustment since then, though, by Notre Dame.
Speaking of 5-star players, I was actually fascinated looking into this game. Gazal, I do some research, too. You do plenty of research, I'm seeing right away. But Notre Dame, I mean, they've had a lot of great players.
They have.
One of those players, Kenyon Barner,
a
3-time Super Bowl champion at running back.
Waleski throwing to the outside, and it's incomplete. The pressure was coming. The jailbreak, he had three blue shirts closing in on him.
Yeah.
Of course, then former NFLer Derek Johnson, who was a coach here, he won a CIF title for them as the head coach back in 2016, went on to play at the University of Washington. It was always nice. Him and our old Southland reporter Jenny Phillips would always get into a tussle because she grew up in Eugene. So it was a Eugene, Washington kind of thing.
Yep.
But yeah, no, Notre Dame, lot of notable alumni from Notre Dame, including longtime columnist for the Riverside Press Enterprise, Jim Alexander.
Really?
Yep.
All right. Long time, too. He's been around for quite a while.
Anderson with the handoff. Gets bent back up at about the 35-yard line. So call it about 3 on the play.
Yeah, so I'm sure Notre Dame is saying, we're not the only team that has a platoon of runners playing well. I mean, JW North came in as the team with all of the excellent runners from a year ago, and right now Notre Dame is running the ball well against these guys. It may not show quite on the scoreboard. It's really the Titans have had some promising drives, but they haven't been able to finish them so far in the first quarter.
Third down coming up. 3 receivers to the near side. Empty set. And here it comes. Waleski gets it to Hudak. That's who you want to have the ball. He's the playmaker. And, of course, everybody knows it for John W. North. Giovanni Irvin right there to wrap him in a bear hug. Maybe a yard and a half on the play for Hudak. Clock continues to run. About a 2-yard gain on the play, and it's 4th down.
Well, Coach Thomas certainly knew that his quarterback would have to have a quick release, and these receivers will have to make plays after the catch because led by Leo Tupou, this pass rush will refuse to let you sit back there for 4 or 5 seconds, unlike what J.W. North enjoyed on that drive with the offensive line difference here between the two, at least early in the game.
Looks like they're going to roll the dice on 4th down. Or they're going to try to draw them off, and if they can't, they're just going to punt it. Nice little bit of trickeration there.
All right. I mean, J.W. North's been aggressive. They've blitzed throughout almost every play. J.W. North is bringing 5 or 6.
Yeah, they're trying to catch somebody. They couldn't do it, and now they'll call timeout and kick it away. Interesting. Had a great talk with Tony DeThomas. He's the head coach for Notre Dame. Now, he was elevated when Aaron Huerta, who had a pretty good run at Notre Dame, he left to take the job at Harvard Westlake, which you can't blame him. That's a great situation for him to be in. And I was talking with Coach Thomas, who is a longtime veteran coach. He started his career at Notre Dame. In fact, was a head coach for a year at Notre Dame. Then went over to Magnolia, was at San Bernardino. Then had 2 different stints in Arroyo Valley. He opened Arroyo Valley, as a matter of fact. But we were actually talking, because he's an old Sac State guy. We're talking about that Causeway rivalry up in the Sacramento Valley between UC Davis and Sac State.
All right. Well, I mean, Notre Dame has been excellent for years. They've won 3 league championships in the last half decade, and you had to believe if they played more league games, maybe they would have done it again this year.
Hudak's punt takes a Notre Dame hop, and it'll go inside the 25 to the 24-yard line.
Notre Dame's got a good kicker, too.
39-yard punt, and it's no return, and that's where North will start it up. 7-0 Huskies in the first quarter. I'm Ghazal, he's Nick, and we're hanging out here. It is the finale. It is tax – well, I guess not tax day because they gave another month, but on what normally would be tax day, the final game of the high school football season in Riverside, and it seems somewhat incongruous, but now we'll get back to action. It's funny. I was talking to Opie Vaipulu about it. He's the head coach, and he told the seniors that, hey, if you want to go to the next level, this is what it is because you're playing in pads in April. That's what spring ball is if you're playing at the college level. Here's the give to Preston, and Preston lowers the shoulder, burrows up to about the 31. Good 6-yard gain on 1st down.
Well, I guess just with your tax day theme, I mean, a couple of league championships, not the case tonight, but a couple of league championships will be all but solidified this weekend. So it'll be interesting to see how the other Riverside schools do. But early in the game, the talk was that Notre Dame is pretty significant underdogs, but they have come in and looked every bit as good as J.W. North early in this one. So it's been interesting.
They'll try that right side again, and Preston up near midfield tumbles down at about the 48-yard line. We know about Austin Barra, but they're running on the right side behind Jaden Johnson. Johnson, a basketball guy, 6'9". That's Barry, number 77. As he turns the corner, you see the big number 79 there on the side of the play. Another first down as the ball moves up. They'll spot it officially at the 47.
JW North is playing basketball right now, right?
They will be soon, yeah.
Oh, they will be soon. Okay, so that works out perfect. How he's able to just do both. Oh.
Gamble completes it to Hendricks at midfield. He'll get another 5 yards before he's dragged down from behind. I believe the first man in on the hit was Matthew Pesnick for Notre Dame.
You see that early movement? I was shocked that there was no flag on that play.
Yeah. Short season for the officials, too.
That is true. And for us, but we've done we cover so many games, it feels like we're, late season by now anyways.
Thursdays is, like the steady diet of Thursdays is a little bit unusual because we normally have a couple of bonus games on Thursday and maybe a bonus game or two on Saturday.
Yeah.
But it tends to be Friday night, hence the term Friday Night Lights. Timeout on the field. 7-0. John W. North leads Notre Dame here. Riverside TV, high school football game of the week. He's Nick. I'm Ghazal.
Speaking of head coaches, J.W. North, Dennis Brown for the last 2 years. He was an excellent coach for a couple of years. Huskies had quite the run, and we cover that all on a Riverside TV.
I want to remind you that here, make sure I have the right one. The city of Riverside is partnering with the Sahaba Initiative and Feeding America to host a drive-through food distribution with prepackaged boxes of fresh food for up to 800 families. It's free and easy. No prerequisites or registration required. Arrive on site, and a volunteer will load a prepackaged box of fresh food into your trunk. That's Reed Park, 701 Orange Street, this Saturday from 2 to 5 p.m. So Saturday, the 17th, 2 to 5 p.m., show up there or at Reed Park on 701 Orange Street.
A free box of food? Okay. This is why I tuned in to Riverside TV tonight. Free food giveaway. Cool.
So call it 2nd and 3. First down would be up to the 43-yard line of Notre Dame.
I might just have to swing by this weekend. We'll see. I mean, watch some Riverside TV football too, but that as well.
Preston runs right into the middle of the line for Notre Dame, and that's the big fella there for the Titans, Tyler Jorgensen. Jorgensen, 6'3", 275-pounder. He's their left tackle on offense, but occupying some space there on the defensive side and brings up third down.
Yeah, 2 different blockers on him, and it didn't matter. He slipped right through there for Notre Dame.
So Speak back in the shotgun for the Huskies. Instead, I'm sorry, that's Gamble.
Quarterback mix has gotten us both all shaken up early.
Hendricks in the far slot. Watch him. He's the leading receiver for the Huskies. Play action. They'll throw to the outside. Incomplete. Intended receiver. Looked like Jamari Martin on the outside. Yeah. Instead, that's Mulligan Hikus Weaver. 9, not 8, and it's fourth down.
Early in the game, J.W. North established the run. They went ground 3 or 4 plays in a row to begin that touchdown drive. The Huskies got away from that pass, and as we have this interesting special teams play coming up, it seems as though the switch of the pass has really hurt this team momentum-wise.
Swinging gate formation. This is Gamble, and Gamble's got the first down, and he's through for more. Gamble over the 30, down to the 25-yard line.
Yeah, I might be coming back.
Flag on the play.
But yes, J.W. North went away from the run, and the Huskies, after that incredible opening drive, especially considering, as you mentioned, those 2. Yep, there's the hold, number 22. But with the 2 mammoths on the tackle that we talk about, I'm sure we'll talk about plenty throughout this football game tonight. I mean, that's just a weapon I would use a little more of and run the ball a bit more than they have earlier.
Yeah, run blocking is always easier because you just need to go and engage, and particularly when you're a team like North and you do have the size advantage, and the Notre Dame obviously has more guys playing on both sides of the football. I would guess that we'll see that particularly in the second half.
I mean,
with the size advantage and the personnel advantage. I mean, to give you an idea, to give you context, the roster we have, 24 dressed for Notre Dame today. North, on their senior ceremony, introduced 21 seniors.
And way more underclassmen. Number 75, you see on that screen, Tyler Jorgensen. He's one of the few guys that size-wise can match up with J.W. North. But, yeah, you're right, Gazal. I mean, just from 1 to 60, 65, whatever J.W. North has, just more size up front. Right
Shive
now.
to punt it. Back deep to receive is Hudak for Notre Dame. Shive, his foot into it, good kick, and Hudak's got to let it go over his head. Almost too good. It'll go into the end zone. So a 49-yard kick, no return, but it'll come back out to the 20-yard line. A little bit of a wind tonight, so I know that he was kicking kind of with the wind at his back. Didn't help him much. And it'll be first down for Notre Dame. You mentioned Tyler Jorgensen. He's headed to Benedictine,
yep.
in Kansas, D3 powerhouse. And, talking to Tony Thomas, said the same deal. He's like, small school, late bloomer. So that's a great opportunity for him. He's going to get a free education. But if you watch him on film, he does everything that a lot of these guys do who are going on to Pac-12 schools as far as being an offensive lineman,
Yeah, sometimes it's interesting. You can't – there's 75 that we're talking about, Tyler Jorgensen. I mean, sometimes it is really hard to find, the difference between those D1 and D3 guys, because if you're a D3 football player, you made the top 2% of all football players from high school in the nation.
Well,
so.
it's a value. You see misses all the time. You see guys go D1 and wash out, and then you see guys go D3 and have, really fruitful careers.
In fact, sometimes that's usually how a lot of great guys go.
From the 21st and 10, Hudak. And he gets pulled down behind the line of scrimmage, and that man is, again, Leo Tupou. As we start the second quarter here, Gazal and Nick back with you on Riverside TV.
By the way, you talked about it. UC Davis in that, upper California rivalry. Joshua Kelly was a UC Davis guy, transferred to UCLA, but he was basically not recruited coming out of high school, and that happens all the time. It is just so difficult. We'll see it a couple of years down the line, but COVID's going to make it even harder to find in just a 5-game season. For Notre Dame, a 3-game season to find out which one of these guys can play. It's just a very small sample size to figure all that out.
2nd and 11. Wolski back to throw. Intercepted. That's Corian Rayford with the pick. He's down to the 11-yard line. Rayford has been Mr. Everything for John W. North. Remember, as a freshman, he was on the varsity, played a little bit of wide receiver. The idea was to move him to quarterback. Talking to Opi Vaipulu this week, he thinks Rayford's best position might be defensive back, and there he makes a case for it with the pick here at 11:11 of the second quarter.
Well, he read that like a wide receiver, and he caught it like a wide receiver. You hear it all the time. Defensive backs, they're playing that position for a reason, and not wide receiver. It's their hands. But that practice at wideout, it'll pay dividends because he caught that and was off and running right away.
So Hendricks is one of the 3. There's a trips to the near side. 1st and 10 from the 11. They can get a first down at the 1-yard line. The quick streak route, but is deflected and incomplete. 2nd down coming up. Granger was the intended receiver.
Yeah, Joshua Kelly now a running back for the Chargers. But you see that all the time, guys coming in from D2, D3. In fact, we were unable to see it this year, but Riverside College, one of the league leaders in the NFL in picks was J.C. Jackson, an RCC Tiger from a few years ago. So it happens all the time. So just because you aren't getting picked up by UCLA or USC means nothing.
If you're good enough, they'll come find you.
Yep.
2nd down. Play action to Elliott, rolling to the right side. Speak throws. Complete to the outside. Touchdown. Damian Alala gets to the pylon. Touchdown, North. A lot of movement, misdirection on the play. They had the play action, and nice job by Speak to put the ball there, and a nice job after the catch by Damian Alala to get to the corner and into the end zone. Touchdown, Huskies. They're up 13-0.
That was nice. Damian Alala made about 4 different Titans miss. He may not be the biggest or the fastest, but he sure had an impressive run there. 11 yards, and J.W. North is on the board. That's the difference one play can make. The Corian Rayford interception. For all the excellent things the Titans were doing, I mean, you throughout the week, you know the coaching staff was employing one thing, avoid the turnover, and Damian Alala makes them pay right away.
North turned the ball over, and their defense is able to play around it. This is a turnover very deep in Notre Dame territory.
Look
and
at
the
that.
second touchdown from Speak to Alala, and now Shive will come on for the PAT. Interesting that he reached for the pylon. You know, it's interesting. You learn if you watch the NFL playoffs this year,
Yep.
Bill Belichick and New England Patriots, they're instructed
Do not do that.
Do not reach, because if you lose the ball and it goes out of the end zone, it's a touchback. So I thought it's very interesting. Now, Alala was in a very different situation. There was no defender engaging him. He was just trying to get to the end zone for the touchdown, and he did.
Yeah, just asked Jarvis Landry with the Browns earlier in the playoffs too. But, I mean, it's a tough rule. I'm not sure if they'll ever change it. In fact, because I know you know a lot about high school football, is that a rule in high school too?
No, it's different.
Oh, okay.
The rule is different.
I wonder why that is.
The PAT is blocked, and it'll be a
Let's look at that dive
13 to
again.
nothing lead.
Man, this was nice.
That's a great individual play, as he's got three white shirts around him, and it's, that's capture the flag, right?
Yep.
You got to get to the flag before the three other guys are there, and you know where you're going, and they don't know where you're going.
Mm-hmm.
Second touchdown for Alala, both from Speak, and one he had to do a little bit of work. One he just looked up, and there the ball was.
Yeah, pretty nice for a quarterback, whether it's Speak or Gamble or any of these guys. I mean, you can throw a 2-yard pass, and your receiver does the rest. But this was the storyline coming into the game. The Titans, I mean, I heard it all week. I mean, they are a team that, due to their roster size, they are quote-unquote underdogs tonight. They had to win the battle of penalties and turnovers, and right now, penalties is about even, and that interception is an absolute backbreaker.
Anderson, Adam Gorgon back, and then back deep
Nice kick.
is Seth Gorgon and Hudak, and it's out of the end zone. And Shive, probably still smarting from having that PAT block, made sure that nobody's going to touch that. A touchback, and it's 1st and 10 at Notre Dame.
Yeah, 68 yards deep. There are college guys, Benedictine or wherever, who can't kick 68 yards like that. I don't know if the wind's coming right at them. It's kind of died down a bit, but nevertheless, impressive kick.
Yeah. The history of the series is very interesting. I was trying to find out when the last time these two teams had played, and Dennis Brown, who's the athletic director at John W. North and one of the assistant coaches, he's a Notre Dame alum. As there's the 1st and 10. Here's the give to Anderson running to the left side, and he gets strung out, and he's put down. Lupo there. Tupou there. Right at the line of scrimmage, and it'll be 2nd down and 10.
What is interesting, I mean, you see a lot of these coaches do go from head coach to athletic director. That's not an unusual change, but Opalini Valpoulou, he's been right along almost at Dennis Brown's hip for years.
Yeah, Valpoulou was an assistant on those Riverside Poly teams. Then he was for a year head coach at Riverside Poly. Then he went down and worked at Tockwitz for a couple of years before joining forces. Woleski back to throw, looking to the outside. Hudak goes up and gets it close to a 1st down. Good coverage on the play. He was right there, was Jamari Martin, but Hudak made the play for Notre Dame. Hudak, a 3-year starter. He started as a sophomore for Notre Dame, and it'll be 3rd and short.
Not only a great catch, how about the poise in the pocket? Manuel DeCastro was all over the quarterback, and he still delivers a strike as he gets knocked down again. I mean, I'm sure he knew coming into the game, I'm going to get hit about a dozen, maybe 24 times tonight. I've got to hang in and deliver those throws.
3rd and 1. Here's Anderson,
Oh.
and he gets submarined in the backfield. That's Johnny Tupou coming in. He sees Leo getting all the action. He goes, hey, I want to have some fun too. And he gets in there and he knocks Anderson down in his tracks. 4th down coming up.
I mean, there's just – you could see the emotion. There is no way that he could have caught the 1st down with Johnny Tupou jumping the line like that. And this is the moment where the quarterback's got to start executing some hard counts and keep that defense honest, because you can see the Tupou guys, 47 and 45, Johnny and Leo, they are jumping the snap almost every time. One of those guys are, at least.
Jamari Martin just back inside midfield for North. Good kick by Hudak will push him back a little bit. Takes a Notre Dame bounce. He picks it up at the 37-yard line. Trying to get to the outside with a nice block there is Martin. And a long run, and he's finally down. Flags come in.
Tax day is not today. I guess it's flag day today. There was 3 or 4 block in the backs on that one.
38-yard kick, about a 7-yard return. Nice job by Martin, but you got a little bit too much help, and a couple of flags come in on the play, and we'll wait to see what Keith Sabo says.
It's one of the issues about a return man weaving left and right. It's very difficult to block up men like that when you have your return guy constantly switching fields and the defense constantly switching fields. And, I mean, they're going to get penalized for 1 block in the back. Our replay showed at least 2 or 3, so this is an easy one.
It's tough. You don't have the practice time you normally would, and that's going to be, I'll tell you what, Dennis Brown, he's going to go to the film, and he's going to be on some people. Dennis Brown is the special teams coach for John W. North under O.P. Vaipulu. Coach Vaipulu told me the story about how he and Dennis Brown connected. He played for his brother Bill, who was the head coach at RCC. When he was a player there, and that's how he first met Dennis. Yeah, there's 2 blocks right there in the back that we've seen.
And there's a third up on the top.
And that's where the relationship began. And
I wonder why Dennis Brown, chose athletic director and special teams coach. I mean, he's still every bit involved with this team this year. That's interesting.
COVID changed a lot of things, and the Brown family, obviously very prominent here in Riverside, particularly in the sport of football. And he's been a coach, he's been an AD, and duties change. And obviously with the COVID, having to manage a lot of things with regard to the school. There's actually a school. These kids all go to class,
believe it or not,
without before the whole football deal.
Oh.
So they're
offsetting
offset.
penalties.
We'll replay the down.
Interesting.
Yeah. Get word from the truck. He's also an assistant principal. So maybe some duties that preclude him from necessarily being a full-time football coach. But luckily he has a guy he trusts in O.P. Vaipulu.
I mean, no matter what coach we talk to, not just here in Riverside, but across this Southern California area, you talk to coaches, and as much as they are high school coaches, they love the X's and O's and all that. The first thing that they're passionate about is being teachers, and you had to believe that Dennis Brown was having that itch again to get back into the classroom, to helping students, and he's going to have more of an opportunity to do that, because as a head coach of a football team, high school or the NFL, it's very, very exhaustive work, and it's hard to really get the sort of connection that you do as an AD.
Well, he loves it, though. He loves the sport.
Oh,
so.
yeah.
Hudak is going to benefit North. The penalty is a short kick out of bounds to the 42. So about a 17-yard kick, no return. And I'd say they'll gain about 15 yards. Will the Huskies on the play? They'll start in Notre Dame territory. 9:16 to play in the first half. It's 13-0 in favor of John W. North. I'm Ghazal. He's Nick. Last 2 games for the Huskies, Nick, they've outscored their opponents 91-6 over Hemet, who's 1-3, and Valley View, who's winless at 0-4.
Well, to the credit of Notre Dame, they've outscored their opponents 89-13 over the last 2 games.
There you go.
So both are pretty hot, even though the Titans had a bye week 2 weeks ago.
So Jaden Gamble in at quarterback for John W. North. And here's the give to Elliott. And Elliott fighting, moves forward, moves back, and then falls forward to about the line of scrimmage. And you love the tenacity of this Notre Dame defense. A lot of these guys are playing both sides of the football, but they're still relentless.
Oh, man, Hassan Elliott. I mean, you had to wonder, because he ripped off a huge run to begin that touchdown drive the first 90 seconds of the game, and then just like the quarterbacks, he's out for basically most of the quarter. And he comes right out, not rusty at all, and ready to break some tackles.
Here's Elliott again, right up the middle. He's got some space, Elliott to the house. Touchdown, Huskies. 41-yard run for Hassan Elliott, and he was the freshman running back the same year that Venasio Michaele, as a freshman, kind of burst onto the scene with the varsity, and now they have a great 1-2 punch, a kind of a thunder and lightning situation, both guys coming back next year.
Well, Michaele could have ran through that about a decade ago. That was an incredible job up front by the offensive line. All 5 guys just winning at the point of attack.
It always starts with the big boys.
Yep. Sometimes a guy like Elliott can make a bunch of guys miss. That was like running a 40-yard dash, untouched.
41-yard run for Elliott makes it 20-0 with
Look
the PAT.
at that blocking. My goodness. And then Elliott's so fast, the blocking can't even chase the defense. I mean, this kid's pretty good. It's hard, to judge him with that offensive line, but, I mean, he is just blazing fast. We're going to get another angle. It's awesome to look at this guy run.
Look at the seal block there.
Yep.
By Thomas Tarasio. He's just a sophomore. He'll be back for 2 more years. We've already talked about Barry on the one side and the big fella, number 79, Jaden Johnson on the other side. Tarasio on the play, Arthur Marquez, Cesar Olazaba, Dom Vargas. They rotate a number of guys in there to keep them fresh. Another touchback by Terrence Shive, so he's living up to that 5-star billing.
Yeah. They've got a couple of good players on here. Just stay tuned. JW North, for years, they've brought guys to Division I schools, and it looks like we're going to be hearing a lot of these guys at the next level moving forward.
Yeah, they'd veered off course for a little bit, and then, Doug Dubois had that one good year, and then he left after the second year, and then Dennis Brown came in and kind of stabilized in the first year. They had that great year where they won the league a couple of years ago in 2019, and now here, trying to continue with that success are the Huskies. But it's Notre Dame football. They're trying to get back into this one. They trail 20-0. Anderson right up the gut, dives forward over the 20-yard line for a couple.
Yeah, JW North had their most wins in a decade last year, 10-2. And quite the playoff run. It was thrilling to watch them on Riverside TV.
Of course, North had those back-to-back CIF titles in 07 and 08. Lou Randall was the head coach back then. Mike Clausen was their quarterback. A lot of history with John W. North.
Yeah. No matter who their head coach is, it's fascinating. They've always got a winning culture here, and they never get really too low in the standings no matter what season.
Well, misdirection. Hudak in the middle of the field. And again, maybe a yard on the play.
Yeah. And that's hard to do, because unlike in college where you stick to a league schedule and stick to a conference, every 2 years these schools are changing leagues.
Right.
And JW North just keeps on winning no matter who they're playing now in the Sun Belt League.
Yeah, J-Dub, they were in that Big 8, and the Big 8, all of a sudden they got rid of 2 teams, and they came to the Inland Valley. They were in the Inland Valley, and they restructured that whole – they made the Rain Cross Conference with those 3 separate leagues.
It's just so interesting.
I still think North and Poly should play every year, regardless of what league they're in. But
right.
That's for smarter people than me. 3rd and 7 coming up for Notre Dame. Thrown to the outside, incomplete. Hudak, the intended receiver, Corian Rayford, there on the coverage, and 4th down coming up for the Titans.
I believe Poly played a full league year. Otherwise, they would have dabbled with JW North. But I'm with you.
Yeah, I mean, it's interesting. The schedule was kind of on the fly for the Huskies. They were supposed to open at Norte Vista, and they were going to play Rancho Verde in Week 5. But that didn't quite work out, so they moved Rancho Verde up to Week 1. They filled, obviously, this slot with Notre Dame, and then they were going to play Paloma Valley. Paloma Valley had a COVID protocol, so they last minute had to bring in they ended up playing Vista Murrieta that week.
Yeah. Broncos were down for a little while. That's my school. They're back and rolling. They had Coley Candell for a couple of years. He did the Dennis Brown and turned into an athletic director. So they had their run through coaches, and now they're pretty good. And they gave JW North a pretty good licking in Week 2.
33-yard kick. Nice return there by Jamari Martin. He brings the ball into Notre Dame territory at about the 46. So he got about a 10-yard return. And that's where North will tee it up. They lead this one 20-0. 6:48 to play in the first half. Ghazal Hassan, Nick Rice with you. Want to send some thoughts. Jeff Gorham out of town, had to go out of town suddenly, deal with some family stuff, and want to obviously wish nothing but the best to he and his wife Carla. Hopefully everything's handled, everything's taken care of, and obviously we miss him here.
Yeah.
1st and 10 for JW North. Speak, middle of the field. That's Hendricks. Hendricks down inside the 20. Touchdown saving tackle made in the middle of the field.
I think Julian Mercado was around there. Nevertheless, just excellent protection again, and the Titans brought one too many guys.
Mercado, they like him on Notre Dame. They think he's got a future, sophomore defensive back.
Yeah, there he was right there.
Making the touchdown-saving tackle. And 1st and 10.
Just a classic case of one too many guys on that rush.
From the 16 here, Speak, looking to the outside. It's complete. And down inside the 5-yard line, Mulligan Hakis Weaver. Nice pickup there, about 12 yards and a first down, 1st and goal for the Huskies. Look at that protection, Nick.
I was just about to say it, too. I mean, we hate to gush on it too much because the Titans have a pretty good defense, too. I mean, giving up 13 points the whole year coming in, pretty darn good defense that's really getting pushed around up front right now.
Elliott.
And there's only so much you can do when Tyler Jorgensen's getting doubled at every play. There's a look at number 75. He's the nose tackle for, and there's the double team. It comes in a little late, but very, very difficult to get a push when you're getting double teamed like that.
About 2 yards on the play for Hassan Elliott, and 2nd and goal coming up.
Elliott getting some nice touches here late in the half.
Speak to the outside. Touchdown. Making the catch, Ashar Granger for John W. North. He reels it in, and we talked about the balance on the Huskies. They've been able to run the football, and they've been able to throw the football. 3rd touchdown pass for Tyler Speak here in the first half.
All right, Speak's just carving him up right now. I mean, Titans gave him a short field, and that's where he just found his rhythm. Then all of a sudden, when Hassan Elliott is running wild like he has, it makes it that much easier against single coverage on the outside. Just the jump ball, textbook.
Yeah, Granger, another guy who's going to be back next year, as Shive pumps it through, and it's 27-0 in favor of John W. North. The Huskies barking at the doghouse here in the first half. Tony DeThomas going to need to go inside and make some adjustments. You know, and that's one of the things that you saw. Now, if you come a little early to these games, you notice these teams don't have full access to the locker room. You know, they kind of come out in shorts, and they're with their helmets and their pads, and a lot of the players, I think not all of them, some can, some can't. The players got to put, a lot of them got to put their helmets and pads on the field because they don't have full locker room access yet. Everything, a lot of changes due to this COVID pandemic.
The fact that they're even having a season is insane because it looked for a long time like California was going to go nowhere near the tier needed to play high school football.
You know, talked with Coach DeThomas about that because we were talking about the season and some of the struggles they had, some of the challenges they had. But he said, you know, I get on the field for practice and I just see joy that the 24 guys or 26 guys that we're suiting up, they're just they're happy to be playing football, and that's enough for me, and that's all I need to get it going. And that's what convinced him. You know, he was with Jason McMains over at Carnegie. And then a number of the players came over from Carnegie to Notre Dame about 3 or 4 years ago. And Coach DeThomas came over. He was done. He was moving to Vegas, but football needed him. And he decided, you know what, I'm going to be here for these seniors.
Not a bad idea.
First down. Waleski goes down, and he loses the football. And they're going to say he's down at the 7-yard line. Another look at the play. Let's watch it, Nick.
Yeah. Number 21, Alonzo Elliott's got there first, and then here comes 40, Devon Toki. Yeah, you got to feel bad. You've got a sophomore quarterback out there, and it seems every play J.W. North is throwing 5 or 6 guys at him. Now, one of them a little illegal. Did you catch what exactly the call was?
It looked like illegal use of hands, or
hands to the face.
Yeah.
Let's look at that replay again.
So the ball moves up to the 30-yard line. So it'll be a first down for Notre Dame with 5:12 to play.
If that's the case, I didn't see any hands to the face. Nevertheless, I mean, just the rush is incredible. I would argue some hard counts could keep this defense honest, but they are just flying all over the place right now.
More pressure, middle of the field, intercepted. Tupou with the pick. What else can he do? He's been in there on run plays, been in there on pass plays. Now he's out in coverage, and he makes the pick.
Well, Devon Toki, as mentioned, he was on the pressure on that penalty, a play ago. Look at 40, fly in. And that's just a missed assignment up front by the Titans. Unfortunately, the quarterback only has but 2 or 3 seconds, and with Toki flying in late, it was a perfectly designed blitz. I don't know who the defensive coordinator for this team is, maybe a Dennis Brown, but, they're coached up. These blitz, the stunts, the delay blitzes,
well, that's
corners.
That's Opie Vaipulu.
Oh, okay.
Because he made his money he's a D-line coach before he started.
Yeah.
When he was an assistant before he was a head coach.
So these guys got that coaching as a coordinator from last year out of him.
Preston
this year.
bursting through the line up to the 30-yard line, dozen yards on the play and a first down, running right behind the big fella in the middle, the center Cesar Olazaba.
Great blocking. But, I mean, the defense, it's incredible. I mean, he must be going to incredible lengths to diagram some of these blitzes. I think I've seen every player on that defense blitz the quarterback at some point, and it led to the interception.
Jaden Gamble to throw to the outside. Hendricks, nice one-handed catch. Hendricks to the house, touchdown. Excuse me while I kiss the sky. Hendricks with the one-handed grab and a 32-yard touchdown jaunt to the end zone for the senior.
Look at Mom. I got it with the left hand. Hendricks, what a play. There was 2 different Titans in the area. He didn't feel any of the defense on him as he spins right away and calmly trots into the end zone. What a catch. I would argue a Sports Center top 10 catch. That was pretty cool.
Shive on for the PAT, and it's up and over in a 34-0 lead for John W. North. 3 touchdown passes for Speak. Gamble gets into the act there. Getting the ball outside to Harold Hendricks, the senior.
I mentioned it early in the game. It's pretty darn easy to play quarterback when you've got receivers like this. With the right hand, Hendricks snares it and is off to the races. With these gloves now and all the technology, it is, I guess, a little bit easier to catch, but no matter what level you're in, that is very difficult. To make a snare like that on the run, I mean, there was 2 Titans there. As a receiver, it's hard not to clutch your hands, to pull your arms in. But no, he was not feeling any of that pressure. That was
Shive booms it deep, but there was is there a flag on the play? I mean, he's booming it deep every time.
Yeah.
Looks like we'll get a re-kick. I don't know why you'd re-kick it. He's going to boom it into the end zone again, unless they move it back. They throw. I didn't see a flag on the play.
Well, maybe the argument is, at one point he's got to get exhausted, right?
Fair.
Maybe. I don't know. I'm speculating. Probably not. Even from the 35, he's capable of booming it through the end zone. So.
Yeah.
We'll see.
Shive, a guy still looking for an offer from what Opie Vaipulu told me. They won't bring it out.
I'm no college recruit, but I'd I'd give him a look for sure.
It's tough, because North, even though they had a great year in 2019, they're not a team. In Southern California, you have so many teams the light is shined on. Down in Orange County, you got Mater Dei, you got Bosco in Long Beach, and then Centennial here in the Inland Empire.
Centennial's down a little bit though this year.
Lost to Norco. How about that?
Yeah, I was pretty shocked. I mean, COVID's just been wild. There are a lot of great teams have lost. I know Bosco plays Mater Dei tomorrow, so that'll be pretty crazy. Basically for the state championship tomorrow.
1st and 10 from the 20 for Notre Dame. Trying to get on the board here. John W. North has been putting on a clinic on both sides of the football. Waleski throwing to Hudak, and right there was Tupou on the coverage, incomplete. Play didn't particularly develop. Second down coming up.
I mean, you can just see the quarterback. He's dropping 2-3 steps and getting rid of it. And number 45, you can see him right there with the locks, Leo Tupou. When you've got the Tupou guys coming at you, there's a look at one of them. I mean, it's very difficult to stand in there knowing you're going to get hit. I feel bad for this guy throughout the rest of the game, especially now because J.W. North knows you're probably going to throw the ball almost every down. And look at this. Look at this formation.
Bunch formation at the top of your screen. They get the ball. That's the guy you want the ball in his hands, but all of a sudden 3 blue shirts envelop him and throw him down. Toki right there, among others, for John W. North as they get the ball to Hudak. I mean, he's their big playmaker.
Yeah.
He's the guy you want. You want the ball in his hands, but they know it, and you see Toki over top with the hit.
I mean, it's good play calling. I mean, to neutralize a blitz, throw those screen passes, and get your receivers open in space. But guys got to make their blocks, and right now it's very difficult for them to block this football team, and it just seems for the Titans, yes, they were underdogs coming in, quote-unquote, but it seems anything that could go wrong has right now for this team.
Anthony Acuna in the far slot. Top of your screen is Hudak. Here comes the pressure. They're looking downfield for the home run, and Hudak's got it. Switches hands. Rayford is the last line of defense, and Rayford brings him down at the 5-yard line. 74-yard pickup from Waleski to Hudak, and that's what you want if you're Notre Dame. You turn on the juice a little bit with your playmaker.
Well, he got in the open field and kept looking back, and that allowed Rayford to catch some ground. Maybe he got away with a bit of a face mask there, but still an impressive throw. It's hard to dial it in on the run like that, but he hit him in stride, and it was a beautiful throw to set up what Notre Dame hopes is their first scoring drive of the game. In fact, I think that face mask will be assessed from Rayford.
So the Keith Szabo telling us there will be a face mask half the distance.
Yeah.
So the ball moves to the 2-yard line, 1st and goal for Notre Dame.
All of a sudden, the Titans offense that couldn't block anybody. There was 3-4 seconds for him to sit back, and you can see when these receivers have time to dial up these deep routes, they're pretty good too.
Anderson running. Anderson, is he in? No signal as of yet. They'll say he's down at the 1-yard line. So clock still moving. 2nd and goal coming up for the Titans. 34-0 as we near the end of the first half. Ghazal Hassan, Nick Rice with you here. We're at the Doghouse on the campus of John W. North High School. 3rd and Chicago.
3rd and Chicago.
3 and C, as they say.
Interesting.
In the city of Riverside.
Just across the way from RCC. I can see why a lot of Huskies decide, you know what, I'm just going to go to the Tigers. About a half-mile drive from here.
Anderson, Toki in the backfield with the initial resistance. Stopped again, 3rd and goal coming up. Well, the one thing the Huskies haven't done is dial up a goal line stand. Here we go, Nick.
Okay, well, we've seen almost everything. Danny Salvador was there, along with others for the Huskies. I mean, this defensive line looks incredible, and we'll get a chance to see if they can provide a stop here. And you can see some of the hands on the hips, including the lead tackle, Tyler Jorgensen, for the Titans. They desperately need this timeout. I mean, Notre Dame, their offensive line is also basically their defensive line. So this is a great opportunity for them to rest up and get ready for one of the most important drives for them in the game so far. I mean, they've got to be just gassed. I mean, I never played varsity football, but playing just one way is just excruciating. You see these guys exhausted coming out of the timeout.
I mean, the scary thing about this defensive line for North, Nick, is that they're all back, you know.
Yeah.
I mean, Salvador's a sophomore coming back. DeCastro is a junior. He's back next year. Elliott's a senior. He won't be back. And Guzman's a senior. He won't be back. But, I mean, they'll have a core to build around. And obviously those linebackers, both Tupos, they're both back next year.
Well, Hassan Elliott, the other guy, he's just a junior, so that's exciting. And I was shocked to see that. He looks like he's been a senior for a couple of years. He's been such a huge component.
He and Venancio Michaele, they were in the same freshman class, so that was a pretty good freshman class.
Sure was.
Here for John W. North. 3rd and goal. Anderson.
No chance.
Wow. Rayford there, along with Toki. Tupo was also there, a bevy of maize and blue there.
Yeah, almost like the Michigan colors. Huh?
Yeah, Michigan look for John W. North.
Let's look at that jump up front. This guy, Leo Tupo, you talked about it the first drive of the game. I mean, I don't know if you had that in your arsenal all week thinking about it. Troy Polamalu, he literally looks exactly like Troy Polamalu. The way he plays, and, of course, the locks helps.
Yeah, I mean, the hair helps, but, I mean, it's a style of play.
Mm-hmm.
It's super aggressive, relentless, almost reckless.
Yes.
But that puts pressure on the offense. You mentioned it. You know, he's reading the snap count, and that just puts so much pressure on the offense for Notre Dame. They're going to call timeout to talk it over. 24 seconds to play. It's 4th and goal from the 3.
On the scoreboard, it says they have no – does that say they have no timeouts?
Yeah, it does.
All right. Well, they got their 4th timeout of the game. All right.
No, I think one of the earlier ones should have been assessed to North and was assessed to Notre Dame.
Oh.
Yeah. So I believe there was one left for Coach Tony DeThomas. Very nice guy. We talked to him before the game. His hat, he has a little visor. It says next play, meaning, young man, I know you made a mistake, but we got a game we're playing.
Mm-hmm.
So you got to forget about it and move on to the next play. And he holds his guys accountable. He believes in that. But he said, hey, I don't want you dwelling on a bad play you made 3 plays before, have it cost us a game.
Yeah, Tyler Speak, one of the first plays of the game. He threw an interception right to the linebacker. That looked like a big moment where the Titans could start to swing the momentum back.
Yeah.
And they came right back around.
Defense played around the turnover. And the scoreboard speaks for itself. 34-0, J-Dub, John W. North. And, you know, both coaches with interesting assignments this year. You know, you're going to win as many games as you can, but you're also really doing 2 things. You're getting your guys are coming back ready for the fall, but you're also showcasing those seniors, you know. And in particular for North, you know, a guy like Austin Berry's going to go play in college next year. You want to give him that senior year experience. Here we go. From the 3, it's 4th and goal for Notre Dame. Anderson right into the middle and nothing. Goal line stand for John W. North. The big guy getting up from the bottom of the pile was Johnny Tupo. He was the first man in for John W. North. Here's another look, Nick.
Literally, they just overpowered the Titans. That's all it is. I mean, at the point of attack, they're winning. Oh, my goodness. I didn't see that. Wow. Johnny Tupo and Leo Tupo.
So with 18 seconds left, the best scoring chance goes by the wayside.
Yeah.
A 74-yard strike from Oleski to Hudak put them on the 5-yard line. And
penalty pushed them to the 2.
Yeah, and then you give John W. North credit. Those big boys up front, Elliott, DeCastro, Guzman, and the Tupo brothers, Johnny and Leo, just doing the job.
That was an incredible job by the J.W. North defensive line. And that was really fitting because the Huskies have won the line of scrimmage throughout the day. And with the Titans a yard away, not only do they win, but they overpower them to end the half. That was awesome. Pitch the shutout.
Huskies are barking at the doghouse. It's 34-0 at the half here on Riverside TV. Goal line stand to close it off. Here's that 4th down play once again, and I think Nick Rice described it aptly. Just they overpowered them up front, and just the blue shirts getting in. What do they call that? What's that? The Maginot Line. The Maginot Line was broken on that play.
Yep.
And John W. North with the huge stop, and the Huskies very much in control. Intra-city rivalry. Before the game, I was down on the field. Dennis Brown played at Notre Dame, so I figured between him and all his assistants, they would know when's the last time these two teams played. I asked Tony DeThomas. He wasn't sure. The only confirmed date we got was 1979. So I would hope they played between 79 and now, but that was the only date we could confirm. And here at halftime, and the first time, let's just say for the first time in a long time, North playing Notre Dame, and the Huskies go to the half 34-0. Nick and I back with the second half after these festivities.
The passing of the baton, but today it's going to be bashing in the ceremonial piñata. So there you go.
Transformation, and this gallery is just right next to the Zocalo. It is a center of activities. It has museum shop, it has cafe, it has gathering space, learning space. So these will be all fluid between the art in the gallery and the activity of the people indoor and outdoor.
As we go along this path, I am fully convinced that this museum and the Center for Chicano Art and Culture was meant to be, and it was meant to be here in Riverside and the Inland Empire. It is beyond my wildest dreams of what we could do with this building, and we hope we can bring honor and glory to a long tradition of historic buildings here in Riverside, California.
Engine 1 AMR, respond with RPD for a traffic accident with injuries. In 1234 Main, cross of Columbia, 2 vehicles involved.
Each year, the Riverside City Fire Department responds to 40,000 emergency calls.
431. And the men and women of the Riverside Police Department drive Code 3 every day.
We need your help, so you know what to do when you see emergency vehicles.
Pull to the right.
Pull to the right.
Pull to the right. So help us help you.
We need you to pull to the right.
Mask up, Riverside. We mask up to keep our community safe. Let's do our part to keep everyone safe.
I wear my mask to prevent the spread of COVID-19.
I mask up.
I mask up.
I mask up to keep not just myself safe, but the elderly and family members affected.
I mask up so I can be there for my patients.
We mask up
so we can hug our grandbabies again.
I mask up because when you need help, I need to be able to respond. I wear my mask
to prevent the spread of COVID-19.
Because my immune system is compromised.
Because it's easy.
Mask up, Riverside, so we can get back to normal.
Mask up, Riverside, so we can get married.
I mask up to keep myself safe and to keep everyone else safe.
I mask up for me, for you, and
to keep my family safe.
I wear my mask to stop the spread of COVID-19.
Add your phone. Stop the spread, California. Get COVID-19 exposure alerts. Help protect your community while maintaining your privacy. Go to canotify.ca.gov today.
Agrega tu teléfono California, detén la propagación, recibe alertas de exposición a COVID-19, ayuda a proteger a tu comunidad mientras mantienes tu privacidad. Ve a canotify.ca.gov hoy.
Today is our very first building of a Little Free Pantry. We are building a Little Free Pantry in our community. It will be one of the 26 throughout Riverside that will help fill the gaps of food scarcity here in Riverside. Data is telling us now that 1 in 6 families are hungry. It's about 44% of adults and about 50% of children that are hungry here within our own neighborhood, in our own backyard.
Because of the pandemic, there's a lot of hunger out there. There's a lot of families in need, and we hope that this will act as a bridge until families are able to get the food that they need. I think that there are always those times where we are living paycheck to paycheck and we need just a few cans of something to get us by. So these little pantries will serve in that capacity, and we're really excited to see something that will help families in need.
And this has been a wonderful collaboration with the Riverside Mutual Aid Network, IEHP, here at Sandals Church, and the City of Riverside. So this has been a fantastic opportunity for community members to step up and to fill a real void in our city, which is food insecurity. So the idea is that if one of these free little pantries in your neighborhood, you could stock it as frequently or as infrequently as you want to. And the idea behind it is that when people have extra food, it doesn't go to waste.
These pantries are just kind of the first step, right, for reintroducing neighbors back to each other, getting folks involved in taking care of each other again, and just strengthening those community bonds that Riverside is so known for. Because things like food drives and food distributions, they're really good, but they only help folks in that moment of need. And we wanted to create something that would continue giving back 5, 10, 15 years from now, and really allow the community to get back into taking care of each other instead of maybe relying on, just government or nonprofit structures to kind of take care of them.
If others want to follow suit, they can apply at riversideca.gov/cares as an application, or they can email us at neighbor@riversideca.gov to receive an application to host a Little Free Pantry in their neighborhood.
Add your phone. Stop the spread, California. Get COVID-19 exposure alerts. Help protect your community while maintaining your privacy. Go to canotify.ca.gov today.
Mrs. Pitchford again. I'm a teacher here in Riverside, and I wanted to talk to you today about something that everyone's talking about, and that's washing your hands. It's super duper important to wash our hands even better than we usually do. I know that you know how to wash your hands. You do it all the time. But nowadays, we have to wash our hands in an extra special way. We have to wash our hands much longer, okay? Because when we go outside, there are germs on our hands that we don't even know about, okay? If we touch something that somebody may have touched with their germy fingers, then those germs get on us. If somebody sneezes and goes, achoo, and then touches a doorknob, then those germs go on us, and we don't want that to happen. So when we are told by mommies and daddies, or grandmas and grandpas, or any of your grown-ups at home to wash our hands, we have to do it really well. Let me show you something about germs, okay? I brought something, and we're gonna do some pretend for a minute. All right, so I brought this glass bowl from my house, and I brought some black pepper, and we're gonna pretend that these black pepper flakes, these specks, we're gonna pretend that they're germs, okay? So let's pretend that I sneezed, all right? So I'm gonna stick my finger into those pretend germs, and I'm gonna show you what happens. So here I go. I'm gonna stick my finger in there. Ew, ew, can you see? Oh my goodness. These pretend germs are sticking to me. And you know what? Real germs do that too. It's just that we can't see them. So let's talk about why hand washing is important. And I'm gonna show you something really cool. I brought some soap from my kitchen too, and I have some in a little dish here. And so let's pretend that I'm washing my hands. So on this finger, I'm gonna dip it in some soap, and let's see what happens to those nasty pretend germs with the soap on this finger. Are you ready? All right, here we go. What's gonna happen? Did you see that? Those germs went, no, no, soap! Soap is our enemy. Soap is the enemy of germs. And that's why grown-ups are telling you to wash your hands all the time. So make sure when you turn on the faucet and the water's running, you get lots of soap on your hands, but not too much, okay, just enough. And you rub this part of your hands. Don't forget your thumbs. Rub your thumbs. Even wash the top part of your hands and wash between your fingers. And sometimes, if you're not sure if you're washing your hands long enough, you can sing the ABC song. And I know you know the ABC song. And when the song is over, then you can rinse the soap off and dry your hands and go play again. So remember and show your mommies and daddies what you've learned about germs, okay? All right, see you next time. Bye.
Completed in September 2015, the Tequesquite Landfill Solar PV project is a 7.5 megawatt solar facility that is operated by SunPower and is set atop the decommissioned Tequesquite Landfill in Riverside, California. The project put Riverside 5 years ahead of its goal of having 20 megawatts of solar energy by 2020. The clean, renewable solar power generated is purchased by Riverside Public Utilities and directly feeds into Riverside's distribution system, providing enough electricity to power over 1,600 homes. For more information on other Riverside Public Utilities green energy efforts, visit greenriverside.com.
Hi, once again. Welcome to Riverside Monthly. I'm Steve Brazel, your host, and this is the episode for this month that I've been looking so forward to, getting to know our new mayor, Mayor Locke Dawson. Mayor, how are you?
Oh, I'm great, Steve. Thank you. I'm happy to be back on the show now in a different capacity as mayor. As you know, you and I have, I think, been on the show together a couple times in the past.
Yes, we have. And Mayor Patricia Locke Dawson was elected last year, is the new mayor for the city of Riverside, and I am so happy to have you in the city and looking so forward to what you're doing. But I want to get to know you as the non-mayor title a little bit. You grew up in Riverside in the Greenbelt area. You graduated from Notre Dame High School. I'm kind of curious because it's always kind of an interesting way people get to choosing to serve in an elected type office. So How did that upbringing kind of lead you into a public service life?
Growing up in the Greenbelt, honestly, instilled in me a love of the outdoors because, I mean, my brothers and sisters, my mom wouldn't let us in the house until the street lights came on. I think a lot of people of my generation felt that way. We were outdoors a lot. And so, I went into forestry and wildlife and a career in the outdoors. And when I started working that professional capacity, I felt like I was a pretty good scientist, pretty good wildlife biologist, but I was a better policymaker. And I kept getting dragged into things like that. And so I found that I could be more effective advocating for the things that I love in a different role than what I had trained to be.
See, that's interesting because you kind of went into an area.
Well, back to a regularly scheduled programming. Ghazal Hassan, Nick Rice with you. 34-0 at the half. John W. North have been fairly dominant. I think the momentum swung. North scored their first drive out, and they stopped Notre Dame. At 7:44, though, in the first quarter, Max Anderson picked off a pass from John W. North, and then the North defense played around it, and ever since then, it's kind of been a runaway train for the Huskies.
Yeah, just like how the coach says, next play up, and J.W. North responded right away. And the Huskies' defensive front was, you name them, has been the star of the day. We've talked about them, Mr. Troy Polamalu, Leo Tupou, but it's been everybody flying around out there on defense. We saw maybe the momentum swing on the Corian Rayford interception. It set up a short touchdown, and the dam broke by that point.
You got to give credit to the defensive coordinator, O.P. Vaipulu, for John W. North, of course, defensive line coach Adrian Perez, and the linebackers coach Kevin Hirsch, all obviously coach. They're all coaching up their guys, but that's been dominant. And then, of course, we'll flip over to the offensive line, who's been playing extremely well for John W. North. Give credit to my guy, Matt Walter. He's Mr. Walter, the head, the offensive line coach for John W. North. They bought Pat Meachin in the fall, but then obviously with the COVID situation, he opted out. And, Coach Walter's been there now for 4 years with this group and doing a fantastic job. And he's a fun guy because he gets all my pop culture references. So that's why I like
there
him,
you go.
Well,
we hope all of you are staying safe, COVID safe, testing when you can. And these teams certainly went through quite a bit of hurdles just to make it this year, and we're jazzed. We'll talk about it. This is something that I was wanting to get your take on too, Ghazal. But the shortened off season should be interesting to see how these players respond. But we'll of course get into it.
Terran Shive puts his foot into it. Wow, almost like seeing a unicorn. His kickoff is playable. This is Hudak trying to get to the outside. He dances back in, and after all that's said and done, he'll maybe get to the 20-yard line.
Well, credit to Hudak because that's his first return, if I'm not mistaken, maybe his second of the ball game, and he looked ready for it, standing, watching all those other kickoffs soar through the end zone. Well, I spent the entire half. You teased it right before we went to break, Ghazal, about how long it's been. There is not a single article about the last time these two schools played. So 1979 is probably it.
They're playing in different leagues. There's an interesting formation coming up for Notre Dame. I just thought somebody might know because Dennis Brown obviously played at Notre Dame, him and all his brothers.
Oh.
Waleski putting it up and incomplete.
Wow, how did he get that ball to his receiver?
That's what Coach DeThomas told me, is that for a young guy, very poised in the feet at the quarterback position, and he's got a great internal clock to know when to get rid of the football, and he did so right there. Unfortunately, he wasn't quite in time enough for his receiver. 2nd and 10.
Yeah, Alonzo Elliott was on the blitz, and he just takes a huge shot, does the quarterback from Elliott, and still was able to get rid of it.
Little circle route out of the backfield. And near a first down. Nice play for Notre Dame. Seth Gergen, I believe that is.
Yeah.
Adam Gergen, excuse me. Seth 27, Adam 32, but a third and manageable coming up for the Titans.
I mean, this defense is incredible. You talked about their entire coaching staff. This club is well coached. They start the year, does JW North, giving up 70 points in their first 2 games, Rancho Verde and Vista Marietta. Yeah. And the defense, a sign of a great coaching staff, is how well they develop over the course of the year. And this team is playing some excellent football right now.
Here's the give. Looks like it'll be a first down. That's Gergen again with the carry. I talked to Coach Vaipulu about that, and he said, hey, we realized that was on us. We were kind of on the fly.
The first 2 games?
The first 2 games. It was supposed to be Novi. It was a different team, and mental mistakes he attributed to preparation. He said, well, that's something I as a coach can take care of. So I watched the film. Coach Vaipulu told me, he said, I took that on myself, and we corrected those issues. And obviously it's worked out since then. Vista Marietta was a little bit of a closer game, and then since then they've won their last 2, dominating in the first half of this one thus far.
Yeah.
On the ground again is Notre Dame.
What is interesting is that JW North is going to play more league games, Ivy League games, than Notre Dame. And Notre Dame plays the Ivy League. I don't think there's ever going to be a year again where teams don't play their own league schedule. And, this was a great opportunity for Notre Dame to dip into some districts and some schools that they otherwise wouldn't play, Jurupa Valley, Santa Rosa Academy, and JW North. You just, as you mentioned, wish that maybe Paulie played JW North at some point this year.
Wolski to throw over the middle, complete to Hudak. That's who you want to get it to, but of course North knows it, right?
Mm-hmm.
They got 4 blue shirts around him. Tackle on the play finally made by Isaiah Carter. They'll move the sticks up, and fresh set for Notre Dame.
Well, that's if Hudak's catching in 2-3 defenders, he's pretty darn good, especially against this defense. We'll look at the replay, but from the start, if JW North isn't blitzing, they are dropping 3 or 4 to this guy right here, and he stares at him all the way.
Look, there are 5 guys in. If you were playing Madden, there'd be 5 in that circle zone around Hudak.
I don't even think that they have a play for that in Madden. Do you even play Madden, Gazal?
Not for many years. I was in a league back in the day, man.
No way.
Yeah,
really?
I was in a Madden league, yeah.
Ah.
Gergen, and he loses a football. They're going to say incomplete. Coming over and making the call is Karina Tovar.
Did you hear that from the crowd? I could hear that up here. Let's look at that again. Wow.
He's laying in wait.
I wonder how the coaching staff gets these players to fly around like that. In fact, I'm seeing on one of your notes as if they're flying blind. Is that what you're talking about?
Well, no. That was just with the Rancho Verde because they were scheduled a different team, and they were flying blind because of Rancho Verde. They hadn't really seen a whole lot of them, right?
Well, it looks like these defenders aren't even looking; they're just hitting.
And Hudak gets hit again. Coming up, that's Rayford to come up and make the play for John W. North.
I mean, maybe these guys run into brick walls before practice. I don't know what it is. I mean, they're running through these receivers. Boom.
It's interesting. We saw this a couple of weeks ago with Ramona, where Ramona's defense always undersized but flying to the football, and now we're seeing John W. North fly to the football. They got some big guys flying to the football.
Yeah.
Third down coming up for Notre Dame.
And that was the one interesting thing we talked about, size advantage. Hey, Notre Dame's got some size too, but they're not hitting quite like JW North.
Wolski down the field and picked off. Toki with the interception. Another turnover for Notre Dame. So the offense will come back out for John W. North. 6:15 to play here in the third quarter, so I guess we do have the running clock.
Yeah. The hits, you got to believe, for the quarterback are accumulating over the course of the game, and you saw it. Toki had that covered all the way and was right there for the interception. But here's something that is interesting that we won't get the answer to until the start of next year. We're seeing it in the NBA with these players. I mean, it seems every starter has gotten hurt at some point this year in the NBA.
Right.
And you wonder, usually football you've got 8 months off. There's only 4 months off before the fall this year. You wonder if that may play a role in some injuries in the fall. I hope not. I'm knocking on wood everywhere we have it. But it'll be interesting to see that moving forward.
Elliott bent back after a couple of yards. First man in for Notre Dame was Julian Ramirez on the hit. Second down coming up. Well, I'll tell you, I talked to O.P. Vaipulu about that, and I think I brought it up earlier. He told his kids, hey, if you want to go play college football, you're going to be playing, spring ball with pads. You're going to work out with pads. But he also told me that for his guys who are coming back, he's lining it up 2nd and 10, so no gain on the first play from the 47 is a 2nd and 10. Elliott again up the middle, dancing to the outside now. Elliott with the first down and more, and he's getting some space and brought down at about the 20-yard line, saving the touchdown and making the tackle on the outside. Was that the quarterback? No.
Damian
Acuna,
Olala, though.
That was Acuna making the
Right.
tackle.
Great blocking, though. There's 7. Olala paved the way, somehow blocking 2 defenders at once.
No, that was Andrew Wolski making the tackle.
Right.
Wow, the quarterback out there playing a little safety.
Nice.
Ball, a 27-yard carry down to the 20-yard line of Notre Dame. 1st and 10 for John W. North. They're clicking, man. They lead this one 34-0.
Yeah.
Speak, he had the 3 touchdown passes. Back to throw. Now I'm using his feet. Now throwing to the outside. Incomplete, intended for Hendricks.
Well, he made the one-hand grab for a touchdown. So I think he's due to have one drop like that. But anyway, so
What Vaipulu told me is, if you notice, they're rotating a lot of guys. So they're playing, the seniors are starting, but he's rotating guys in at offensive line, at defensive back, at every position. Now, we've seen Elliott more or less play the whole game at running back.
Mm-hmm.
But for the most part, you're seeing a rotation. So he's doing that kind of to keep them fresh for that load management, if you will.
Yeah.
2nd down. Elliott. And Elliott hogtied, gets over the 20, but not much more.
Yeah. And, the argument can be made like, hey, during a regular non-COVID year, players are in basketball or baseball during the winter and spring, but it's different because in baseball you're working different muscles. And in football, it is a rigorous training program. And to think of after this week, these players have maybe 6 weeks off before they train for next year.
Right.
Number 79 is Jaden Johnson.
Yeah, the old basketball player.
Wow.
With a decleater there.
Yeah.
And the penalty will bring the ball back for John W. North.
Hey, I think we've seen that a couple of times. And you talked Jaden Johnson, basketball player too. Yeah. I think he's got a knack for this football thing.
He may. He played in some of those club events, and he had some scholarship offers. And a timeout, John W. North. 3:59 to play in the third quarter. The Huskies up 34-0. Senior day here, the season finale for both teams. But to finish up the point, it's really, Coach Vaipulu was telling me they were able to set up the conditioning stuff because John W. North had the wherewithal to put their weight stuff outdoors. So they could get some of those weights in. And that's going to really be the key. It's going to be the conditioning stuff. And he's like, they're going to back off a little bit so kids can play other sports, and they're going to come back. When the school ends, they'll come back, get on a regular schedule of workouts. So, but he's him and the staff, and Dennis Brown's been doing this a long time. They're really doing a good job in terms of managing those players. Now, Notre Dame, I was talking to Tony DeThomas, and he told me, listen, 24 men on the roster, 13 of you, which you mentioned, are seniors. He goes, hey, I may not be here, in the fall, but there will be a team at Notre Dame, and we expect to have a full roster, full participation. So,
yeah. Well, they're going to be starting pretty much with a clean slate.
And they have some talented guys. They have a quarterback. They have a couple of linemen. They have a couple of defensive backs, a running back, and a receiver. But, they'll have 11 returning, or not, I think you said 9 returning
Yeah.
players, and they're going to have to fill the rest of the roster.
Actually 11. I didn't mean to mess you up there, Gazal. 11 or 9.
Very long. Play action. Speak down the field. He's got a man deep. It's Alala, and this time he can't come up with it, incomplete in the corner of the end zone.
Alala did not keep running through to the end zone. He slowed down, turned to his left. That's something you don't teach as the coaching staff. Run 100% through the pass.
No, he's already got 2 touchdowns today. What else? What more do you want from him,
I think he wanted to dive across the pylon. He would have had no chance to do it there.
3rd and very long here is the Huskies.
Alala showed some speed on that one, though. But, yep, slowed down to the football.
He's in the near slot if you're watching right now. Hendricks to the far slot. Speak buying some time. He'll throw the ball. Alala comes up with it, and he'll be brought down at the initial line of scrimmage, close to it.
Wow.
And flags come in.
Yeah, Titans getting rid of a little bit of frustrations. I mean, you wonder if this game would have been a little bit different had Notre Dame kept their quarterback, Dre Robles, over 2,000 yards and 21 touchdowns last year, transferred to Aquinas High School, and that certainly hurt the offense in today's game. Now, let's see here.
Notre Dame, going back to that year, the 2016 year where they won the CIF, is going to be marched off against the Huskies. They're used to playing the Ironman football. They're used to, a big year for them is like a 45-man roster. So they're used to playing with limited numbers. They're a smaller school to begin with, right? Aquinas, you mentioned Aquinas. That's what they've been doing for 15 years now.
Snatch another guy. Oh, you're talking about limited rosters.
Yeah, playing with like 35, 40 guys, and they've been competing at every level they go to.
Now, what is interesting is that sometimes the enrollment doesn't, tell the full story. Because, we talked briefly, St. John Bosco has an enrollment of something like 500 people, all boys.
Right.
And they still manage about 100 players on their roster, which is just insane. I mean, those are NCAA FBS numbers.
Taryn Shive with the punt. It'll skip out of bounds inside the 5.
Nice.
Coffin corner job for Taryn Shive. That's where Notre Dame will start it. Speaking of Notre Dame, speaking of Aquinas, Josh Henderson, who was the head coach, he just stepped down, had a chance to call a game at Grace Brethren last year. They're a small school that's done an incredible job competing.
Yeah.
They're Division 4 level. They started off down in Division 10, and they were in the final. They won 2 straight CIF titles at Division 5 and Division 4, I think.
Right around the Pauley High School division. I wonder if they played them during their heyday.
So Notre Dame will get the ball deep in the shadow of their own end zone.
Was there a penalty there? I didn't think the ball landed out at the 2-yard line.
No, it went out inside the 5.
Yeah.
For sure. So it may have been they marked it at the 2. I really hope. If Taryn Shive doesn't get any offers, I guess he might end up with Tom Kraft up the road at RCC.
I don't know if that's a horrible idea. They've had a couple of guys get scouted in the NFL who kicked for the RCC Tigers. And you may think that's a junior college. It's not a junior college. It may be that unnamed, but name only.
Out of the backfield, complete pass to Anderson up to the 25-yard line. So they get a little breathing room, do the Titans of Notre Dame. Still fighting here as we tick down to the end of the third quarter.
I'd like to think the Titans would feel pretty good about themselves if they could go 98 yards.
They had a 74-yard play earlier to Hudak. That one's about 23 yards as Anderson takes the swing pass out of the backfield and gets up to the 25-yard line as we're under 2 minutes to play in the third quarter, clock moving.
Yeah, this was just a one-touchdown game, first quarter, end of the first quarter. And it's funny how football works. An entire game falls down to 1 or 2 plays. And, when we saw that interception, short side of the field, Corian Rayford, it seemed to just open the floodgates for JW North. And we saw Elliott run loose in this game, 3 touchdown passes from Speak, and it's been all JW North.
1st and 10, throwing the ball down the field. Hudak open. He goes up and high points it, and he catches the ball at about the 45-yard line. So a 30-yard hookup. You know, you like the young quarterback. You like what he does. He just hasn't been getting a whole lot of time to make any plays because of the aggressiveness of the defensive line. Now, keep in mind also, North now playing with a 34-0 lead.
Yeah.
So they're not going to pin their ears back anymore. But still,
sure,
the young guy, the quarterback for Notre Dame.
Well, so much for the quarterback. I like the wide receiver. You mentioned high point of the football.
Yeah.
That's a pretty good catch to me.
Well, Wolesky back next year. Hudak will not be back, the senior. Throw to the outside. Another completion.
And, you know, I'm going to be jazzed to start watching RCC football again when they come back to Riverside TV, hopefully next year. We just watched them go on their state title run last year, and I would assume that maybe 4 or 5 guys from the football field tonight are going to be playing for Tom Craft next year.
Third quarter comes to an end. We're into the fourth quarter, 34-0 in favor of John W. North. The home team, so the Husky crowd going to go home happy. It's senior day here at the Doghouse. Getting back to Devin Hudak, here's a guy who I talked to Coach Thomas. He's going to probably end up being, he's got numerous offers, you know, D2, D3. He's getting a lot of attention. U of Redlands, one of the schools that's on him. Before we get back to that, Nick, I just want to remind you that the City of Riverside is partnering with the Sahaba Initiative and Feeding America to host a drive-through food distribution with prepackaged boxes of fresh food for up to 800 families. It's free and easy, no prerequisites or registration required. Just arrive on site and a volunteer will load a prepackaged box of fresh food into your trunk. That's at Reed Park, 701 Orange Street, this Saturday from 2 to 5 p.m. Saturday from 2 to 5 p.m. What are you doing Saturday morning, Nick?
I'm going to get my car unloaded.
Are you going to do a game? I thought you guys are doing a game Saturday.
Well, we're doing Friday night. So tomorrow night I'll be, you know what, I might even be back on Saturday. We'll see. La Sierra at Ramona tomorrow night.
Okay.
The Rams, are they leading their league? Lakeside and Pauley is on Saturday night. So we'll see. We'll look at that.
Throw down the field, incomplete. Hudak was the intended receiver. Now, it was funny because I was talking with him, and they said, you know, Hudak, he's been starting. I think he's a varsity player since his freshman year, been starting since his sophomore year. And I had thought somebody had said that the reason he was going D2, D3 was size, but he's, 6'1", 185. That's legitimate. And again, it's the whole thing. You're playing at a smaller school, so you're not getting the exposure. Now, when you're making deep playoff runs like they did for a couple of years, you were. They had a couple guys go, Division I. They had a player go to Idaho. They had a player, Dylan Petty, I know, is up at Sac State, which is Coach Thomas's alma mater.
Yeah, this Hudak kid looks pretty good. I mean, even just up the road, University of San Diego, Cal Poly, they definitely could use some big play 6'2" wide receivers like this Hudak kid.
Gorgon out of the backfield dancing.
Speaking of Hudak, nice
puts
block.
The shoulder down up to the 30-yard line. Another first down. The sticks move up for Notre Dame.
Yep, so here's number 1 of the outside. He was blocking on the right, and he definitely did his job out there. There he is.
When your receivers
maybe pulled a little bit, but
when your receivers block downfield like that, especially on a play like that's not, that's developing play. That's all culture. That comes from practice, a culture at practice, and just that's the staff holding you guys accountable. And it's impressive. I'm impressed with what Notre Dame has done, being that they really didn't know what was going on for a lot of. There's a lot of moving parts going on there with the departure of Aaron Huerta. Wolesky dancing to the left side. Now I'll put it under, and he'll just step out of bounds at about the 25-yard line, pick up a nice 5 yards on first down.
Yeah, looks like some laundry, late hit. But, Notre Dame's won 3 league championships just since 2015. So, I mean, they may have only 24 players on the roster, those are 24 well-coached and well-executing players out there.
You know, they switched leagues. They were in that Ambassador League for so long, had that natural rivalry with Aquinas, but then they moved to the Raincross Conference, which includes the Ivy, Inland Valley, and Sunbelt League, have all kind of combined together. A lot of local teams.
Right. By the way, JW North needs to really keep their composure here. They have maybe 3 or 4 of those type of penalties, late hits, where you just can't have it. And it's one thing if you're the Titans down 34-0 taking out frustrations. What are you doing pushing a quarterback out of bounds like that? Oh, I mean, I'm nitpicking here. Great performance, but, yeah, can't have that.
From the 13, it's a 1st and 10 for Notre Dame. And here's the jailbreak, and nice job by Wolski to get rid of the football.
He was not outside of the pocket, and that pass was behind the line of scrimmage. Is this a high school rule?
And now there you go. They're going to throw the flag for the intentional grounding.
All right, so it's the same rule here.
I mean, all he's got to do, I mean, he was kind of, you know, it's funny. If he goes 2 steps, he's outside the tackle box, but he was in the tackle box. Mm-hmm. And I think maybe he thought he was, he'd run a little bit further than he had.
Yeah. Well, you know, this JW North defense will do that to you. They've done that to a lot of guys
What did
this
Sam
year.
Darnold say? He was seeing ghosts?
Seeing ghosts.
So, you know, a family affair. You know that?
Mm-hmm. It is a family. Every day at Riverside TV is a family affair.
No, it's actually a literal family affair. Coach Tony DeThomas and Dennis Brown are family. Coach Brown, is Coach DeThomas' brother-in-law.
Oh, wow. So no wonder why they've been at the hip.
That Riverside football community, yeah.
Yeah. Did you catch if the 2 Poe kids, are they related? I would assume so.
Here comes Toki, and he knocks the ball down. It's still loose on the turf. It looks like Notre Dame got it back, but you're talking about, man, 5 minutes ago we said, they're not pinning their ears back anymore, and it's John W. North football. They recover it, another turnover, and all of a sudden they start pinning their ears back again. Turnover to the Huskies, and they've just been all over the backfield in terms of their aggression. Ball comes loose, and there's 4 blue shirts right there around it.
I know technically in your notes you said they're playing blind for a different reason, but the way that these guys hit, it's almost as if they're playing blind. They can't see the person they're hitting. They're running right through them like a freight train. There was Toki yet again, right through the quarterback, and he loses the ball. And you wonder why he's throwing intentional groundings. In 2 seconds, the Huskies have 2 players right there to sack the quarterback.
So change of possession. John W. North football from the 35. It's a 1st and 10.
With the running clock.
Preston, no, keep it. This is Gamble keeping it. Gamble leans over the 40-yard line to about the 42. Gamble back next year. He's a junior. I don't know if he has Division any Division I prospects, but if he does, the obvious choice for him is UNLV, right? His last name is Gamble.
Yeah.
Go play college football in Vegas. Oh, I guess college football and gambling, you don't want to keep them too close together. That can get you in trouble.
Pretty corny there.
UNLV had a center fielder for many years named James Gamble. The aptly named James Gamble, yeah.
That is awesome.
Here's the throw to the outside.
Oh.
Incomplete. Intended receiver for John W. North was Ashar Granger. And Granger looks like he's a prospect as well.
Yeah, sure does. But, if you're Gamble, there were 3 guys in that area, but I guess UNLV would love a play like that. Triple coverage, throw it in there anyways.
Granger, also a basketball player. Now, John W. North Hoops got a little bit of love. I don't know if you're a Netflix guy, Nick Rice, but if you watched Last Chance U, the ELAC version of Last Chance U. Here's Preston pushing forward, burrowing, surging down to about the 47-yard line.
Yeah, that team is great with John Mosley.
Yeah. Rohan Preston, who is a transfer from Grand Terrace. He's Henry Preston's son. Henry Preston played here at North some years ago.
Interesting. I wonder if some of these North kids are going to play basketball at ELAC or just anywhere. It's tough to turn away the football thing. Just ask Kyler Murray, Russell Wilson, these guys who get drafted in the MLB.
Well, it's just tough. Basketball recruiting just starts so early. It's almost like if you're not on the radar by the time you're in 10th grade, you're kind of not on the radar.
Yeah.
The AAU situation. Football's a little bit different. You know, it's tough for late bloomers in football, but you see more late bloomers in football get opportunities because of relationships, right?
I mean, half the NFL's undrafted.
Gamble throws to Hendricks. Hendricks dancing on the outside, about 5 more yards on the play. My alma mater, UC Irvine, has a player in the NFL, and UC Irvine doesn't even have a football team.
Darren Fells?
Tight end Darren Fells. Very good, Nick Rice. and you know what? And Jeff Gorham told me that don't try any trivia with Nick. He won't get it. The first trivia question.
That's right.
The first trivia question I throw and one. And the
one.
foul right to the free throw line for the 3-point play.
All I got to say to Jeff Gorham is Matthew McConaughey.
All right.
All right. Here we go again. Nick being weird. I hope Jeff is watching tonight. I sure do.
False start on North. It'll be 3rd and 9 coming up.
But, yeah, it is fascinating. And, you know, JW North, you mentioned they're probably going to start their basketball team pretty soon. It's just a tough challenge.
I think they've started practice. I want to say this weekend is the opening weekend of basketball at CIF in Riverside.
Interesting. And are they having playoffs this year?
I couldn't tell you. I'm not sure.
Interesting.
I did not know that, Nick.
Dang. Well, you answered all my other trivia questions, so.
Gamble looking down the field and good coverage for Notre Dame. So Gamble tucks it under and runs, and he's finally tackled just inside the 45-yard line on the Notre Dame side of the field.
Now, last year it was awesome. Hopefully Jeff joins me tomorrow because he questioned me about who are the presidents on Mount Rushmore, and I got 3 out of 4 right.
All right, I got one for you. Now I'm going to put you on the spot here, Nick.
All right, do it. Go for it.
There are 5. This is a trick question, by the way.
Okay.
There are 5 U.S. presidents that have alma maters that are share alma mater with Super Bowl quarterbacks. Name them. Name the quarterback, president, and the alma mater.
Oh, jeez.
The one who's president right now.
All right, well, Joe Biden.
Who led the Ravens to their first Super Bowl? Quarterback.
Joe Flacco.
Joe Flacco. So that's
Delaware.
One. That's
Delaware.
One. That's
Delaware.
one.
Okay.
University of Delaware. That's one.
Nice. Thanks
so
for
I gave
the
you the
mulligan.
first one. Shive with the kick. High kick. It's going to be a short kick, but a high kick, and it'll bounce, take a Notre Dame bounce back inside the 25, about the 23.
I mean,
You a Bronco fan?
I'm a Charger fan, so.
But you know the Broncos,
not.
though.
Mm-hmm.
Who was the Broncos' winning quarterback?
Peyton Manning from Tennessee. Who went to
No, the first one. Not Peyton Manning. The first
John
one.
Elway, Stanford.
Herbert Hoover. And by the way, that's a trick. Is Jim Plunkett also won from Stanford, and he's also. So that's 2 down.
All right, Gazal, you're showing off, man.
Give me the rest of them. Give me the rest of them.
We did maybe Bush Senior.
One guy won this year.
Oh man,
where did this year's winning quarterback go to school?
I need the YouTube comment section to help me out, guys.
Up to the 29-yard line.
Tom Brady.
Tom Brady. Okay, so where'd he go to college?
Michigan.
Okay.
I could tell you who the
president. That president actually played football, Nick Rice. Come on.
Oh, my goodness. Oh, gee, you guys are cruel. Teddy Roosevelt. I'm just going to throw Teddy Roosevelt out there just randomly.
Who took over after Watergate? Nixon resigned. Who is the president?
Oh, my goodness. Oh, my God. We just had an election, too. I should.
Gerald Ford. That's Gerald Ford. That's 3.
Gerald Ford, huh?
That's the funny thing is they're all kind of they're like contemporary presidents. As Hudak is tackled at about the 30-yard line, 3rd down coming up. Elliott making the play on defense, firing up his boys.
Okay, there's 2 more. There's 2. I mean, can I name 2 presidents? Period. That's the question.
You're not a president's guy. So that's not fair. Okay.
Well, a little bit. I'm a little bit. I know the Mount Rushmore now. And
okay, the one. I'll give you one more hint. was a winning quarterback for the Dallas Cowboys.
Okay, was it Aikman or Staubach? Staubach?
Where'd Staubach play college
Oh,
ball?
I forget Roger Staubach.
The fifth one is impossible. If you don't get the fifth one, it's okay.
Oh, jeez.
Navy.
Oh, that's right.
President that went to Annapolis? Within my lifetime, but not your lifetime.
Okay, that helps.
Plains, Georgia. Wolski down the field. Incomplete. He was looking for Hudak, double covered. They had 2 on him. He's still alive, by the way.
Okay.
Habitat
That
for
narrows
Humanity.
it down to about 10.
Habitat for Humanity.
I get
James Earl Carter.
Okay.
Okay, and the fifth one you're not going to get.
I'm not going to get.
But it's a recent quarterback. It's a quarterback still playing right now, and he's won a Super Bowl.
All right. Well,
he's actually won 2 Super Bowls.
I could give you that. 2 Super Bowls, huh? Both as a starter.
Yes.
Okay. 2 Super Bowls, huh? Well, that narrows it down to. Would that be? Okay, Eli just retired.
Incomplete.
Ben Roethlisberger? All right, cool. I got the quarterback.
College.
Miami of Ohio.
There you go. President.
Isn't it weird I can get that, but I can't get
That's very good.
where the quarterbacks
That's very
went
good.
to school?
President. We're ticking down to the end here.
Final play of the game. Jeez, that went by fast.
Last snap. Here we go. Throwing it down the field. Knocked away. Intended receiver was Anthony Acuna.
Yeah,
and that's
JW
it.
North's got to cool it off. My goodness.
Flag comes in late, so we may have another play here, Nick.
Terrence Brown, number 20. Play was over. The game was over. And this guy's clapping, taunting. The season's going to end for the Huskies after today, but, I mean, this is something they've got to clean up for the fall.
34-0, impressive win for John W. North. And it's interesting. So this is one of the conversations I had with Tony DeThomas. You know, their first game, he didn't realize they weren't supposed to shake hands. They were supposed to be on, kind of the walk-by wave. So that was an interesting thing. 34-0 the final. Benjamin Harrison is the president.
Okay.
So next time you go to a party, you have a nice parlor conversation. Some final thoughts. Pretty dominant win for the Huskies. Notre Dame hung in the first half. I think it turned. They got the turnover and then couldn't convert, and then kind of the Huskies took over in terms of the physicality, and it became kind of a snowball rolling downhill.
Yeah, great work today by the 2 quarterbacks. Platoon, you talked about Jaden Gamble, Tyler Speak. Hassan Elliott ran well for the Huskies today, but the play of the day, no doubt, the play of the day, the Harold Hendricks one-hand grab, and he took it 30 yards for a touchdown. That was awesome.
Acting funny, and he don't know why, but he got to the end zone, so it doesn't matter. 34-0, the finale. A great situation that 2 schools from the city could play against each other. There's the connection between Tony DeThomas and Dennis Brown, obviously, but also just for those seniors, Austin Barry's going to get a chance to go off and play. I know Baptiste is going to go on and play. He opted out. He's got a scholarship at San Jose State. Some of these seniors for North are going to get a chance to play, but nice that both they and the seniors from Notre Dame kind of get that one last hurrah, Nick Rice.
Yeah, good luck to these guys moving forward. We look forward to seeing you play at Division I football, all of you, JW North and Notre Dame. Tough night for the Titans, but even Notre Dame, they've got several guys, and we talked about it on this show. Whether they go D1 or not, they've got a couple of guys that we will hear of in the future in the NCAA. Exciting football on Riverside TV, and we're just getting the weekend started with La Sierra and Ramona tomorrow, Lakeside and Pauley on Saturday.
Well, the fans will go home happy from the doghouse. A senior day win for the Huskies. John W. North, 34-0. Until next time, for Nick Rice, for my entire award-winning Riverside TV crew, my name is Ghazal Hassan. The final score: John W. North 34, Notre Dame nothing. So long, everybody.